maintenance over at the front. But one thing that should certainly be understood is that we are not at the Nürburgring anymore. If anything, this is what the Nürburgring is, but downsized. This is a tight circuit. This is a tricky circuit. This is a circuit that every single sim racer on iRacing should know like the back of their hand. Welcome to Lime Rock Park. It's Lakeville, Connecticut, and it's us on the Global SimRacing Channel for the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. My name is Jake Sperry. Alongside me for today's action is Joey Atterbury. As Daniel Costello jumps in the director's chair, he's using the cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But to Lime Rock Park, which to everyone who is watching should know like the back of their hand. A circuit that has been used all the way up to the levels of IMSA and has been used for something as very small and sedate as club racing. This has been every part of racing. Let's see what Lotus 79s have to offer with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Lime Rock Park. Located in the northwest corner of Connecticut, this unassuming little track has garnered a surprisingly passionate following. Its unique aspects create a circuit not only full of character, but consistently challenging even to modern race cars. While it has 4 different possible layouts, on the classic version, only 7 corners are split along a 1.5 mile track, with just a single one of them turning left. Though simple in appearance, most drivers will tell you that trying to be fast here is anything but. The run down the front stretch into Big Bend offers pretty much the only viable passing spot, but it's a double apex right-hander which lures drivers into taking it too fast. The uphill is also scary quick considering its lack of runoff and can sometimes cause cars to get airborne over its crest. Then, on the opposite end, the downhill sends cars diving into a quick sweeper, which requires a good exit speed in order to defend or attack back into the first corner. Modern racing mostly uses the more recently built chicanes, especially at the uphill. But one of the most unusual facts about this track is that the races are never held on Sunday. Due to a legal agreement with a nearby church, events must take place on Fridays and Saturdays. The confines around this place are tight, the passing opportunities are few, and mistakes are usually punished with race-ending damage. With most other road courses now being built with upwards of 3 and 4 miles in length, this track stands out. But in an age of multi-million-dollar facilities and flashy buildings, this quaint small circuit manages to keep fans coming back with its intimate and grassroots setting.
Well, they say that the classics are the ones that all these drivers love to play. The greatest hits of iRacing, so to speak. Summit Point comes to mind, Laguna Seca, but Joey, this is Lime Rock Park in its original format, which means we're going airborne uphill.
It should be a fun one, a track that I am extremely fluent with, but 7 turns, 1.53 miles makes up Lime Rock Park, and it is deceivingly simple. It's got some elevation that you got to be careful of, but when you look at the track map, there's really only one left-hander, also known as turn 3. So if you're smart enough, you can go and tweak that setup to kind of be an asymmetrical setup to help turn it around the right-handers, and that's the key here at Lime Rock Park. But as we heard Jake mention, be careful about the uphill turn number 5. You can get airborne. We'll see how much downforce is cranked into these 79s, and then the final turn, the downhill, the diving turn, turn number 7, whatever you want to call it, you better hang on through that one. If you lose the front end, you're most likely going to find a tire wall.
You absolutely will. This Lime Rock Park circuit does not forgive, does not forget, and with 48 laps worth of racing today, there are 48 opportunities to throw it in the barriers around this circuit, which is so easily done. Let's talk championship, though, because this is where we start keeping our eyes peeled. Mika Leno leads currently, but by a very fragile margin. That margin is 6 points over Juho Reiner. Jack David Spickett finds himself in third, 11 points adrift, with John Olsen fourth, leading Dylan Freckleton and JB Masada. You've then got Alberto Pellegrini in seventh, ahead of Daniel Gallis, with Ferran Grau in ninth, and Kartik Pai rounding out the top 10. As far as the championships look, F2, a little bit more, I would say, spread out at the moment, Joey.
Yeah, it's about 17 points separating the top two spots. Pedro Marquez currently holding that championship lead. Yanni Lehman giving chase, but then it closes up only 3 points between Lehman and Bjorn Ackerman. Rolly Wallbank only 6 points behind that P3, and then another 6 points separating Wallbank, Klatska, and then 2 points each between Klatska, Porter, and Moreland. Kurt Clapper, Martin Risman, and Daniel Repetto round out the top 10.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And today, of course, is as they go. Teams Championship there. Fittipaldi on top by 40 over Acela. Their Lotus is there in third ahead of Sanremo Racing. ATS fall down to fifth with Ligier, Alfa Romeo, and Ferrari 6th, 7th, and 8th. TVR Racing is 9th, and Williams round out the top 10. We are already in grid up mode, so we will get a look at this. Topi Korteniemi, 4 tenths quicker than anybody else in qualifying. Juho Reiner alongside for company with Kartik Pai and Timothy Reed on row 2. It's then Pepe Fuentes and Danilo Sanfilippo in 5th and 6th with Timothy Vandenberg and Danilo's brother Marco in 8th position. JDS will go from 9th. Jack David Spickett, he's got Barry West in 10th.
Ian Haycock's here in 11th with AJ Roper lined up next to him in 12th. Fabio Saul in 13th with Jean-Francois Boscus 14th. Stefan Walder lined up 15th, JB Masada in 16th, Antonio Alvarez 17th, Seb Alexander 18th, Daniel Gallus 19th, Christian Nieb in 20th, and 3 more across the page, Tyler Green, Christoph Olenchek, and Ellis Spice rounding out the 23 cars.
So 23 drivers here today to look to put on a showcase, 48 laps to put together, and Topi Korteniemi looking for a very unique double. He won the 49s earlier on today with us on the Global Sim Racing Channel. He is looking to take the 79s in hot track conditions, 42 Celsius, 107 Fahrenheit. Not much wind to talk about here today. 48 laps. Setups are as they come, so you've got to make sure that you are building the best. Green flag in the air though, and we are underway, and a massive wiggle for Juho Reiner off the start in the final phase of acceleration. The torque of the engine there costing him 2 as they go through. Trouble already in the middle of the pack as one car is spun around trying to work out who it is. It's Barry West who's been turned on the opening corner.
The big cat found himself in the grass on the outside of turn 1. I believe that's Karthik Pai trying to slip back into line there. No, he's in second place. A terrific jump for that number 4 car. So it's Korteniemi, Pai, Reed, Reina, Sanfilippo, your top 5.
A wonderful start then from Kartik Pai on board with Jack David Spickett down the hill, looking for 6th place on Timothy Vandenberg as a lap will already find itself through. This will feel like an oval for these drivers with the one left-hand bend on this entire run. Into the big right-hander then. They will go, known as the Big Ben. Blinking for Vandenberg will not help out for Jack David Spickett. Now the left-hander, which will lead to the right-hander, and the aptly named very much isn't straight, otherwise known as the no-name straight.
And look at Timothy Reed crawl all over the back of Pai here as they go up the uphill, and the downforce really glues the car down. So you still got to be careful with that right foot, but look at how closely they can follow extreme high downforce setups here at Lime Rock, because the front straightaway, really not that long.
Well, what can Kartik Pai and co do? He's already 1.3 seconds to Topi Korteniemi, who is out there in front in this one. Reiner currently in 4th, Danilo in 5th. You've got then Timothy Vandenberg in 6th position, all having a look, all having a search, and every which way you look, it's single file running at this moment, because this is the highest speed game of chess that all these drivers will have to deal with, because you sometimes do have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 laps to find a way to go through. Just see Marco Sanfilippo over the hill run into a couple troubles. Take a look at the GSRC replay though. This is what happened to Barry West off the start.
Yeah, you see a couple cars, and I believe it was Juho that had huge wheel spin. Then watch the 15. Oh, he actually gets just a little bit of contact, a nudge in that right rear side panel there, and off into the grass he goes. Doesn't look like too much damage on Barry West's car, and with how short the lap is here, he should be able to get back into the fight.
Whoa, Tyler Green's gonna go for a bit of a roller coaster through the green out there at turn 1. Missed the corner by a mile and somehow able to keep it out of the barriers and still on terra firma. Jean-Francois Boschkas having a look in the Ferrari here at Stefan Waldher for a position 2, and everybody is twitching it about near the curbs around here. They're very flat around Lime Rock Park, but it does mean that with this ground effect, it's very easy to disrupt the flow there. Jack David Spickett finding himself a bit bottled up here as the groups are starting to coalesce. They're stuck behind Danilo Sanfilippo, Van den Berg and Jack David Spickett. But remember, it's the Palermo man's brother who's right behind him, Marco Sanfilippo, dragging Pepe Fuentes and AJ Roper to the group.
Now, this is going to be an intense fight all race long, and to let everybody kind of know, this is round 4 here with these Lotus 79s, going to be doing 48 laps around Lime Rock Park, and as always, it is the open setups. I expect everybody to be on those extreme high downforce setups, and like you heard me earlier, maybe even an asymmetrical setup to help the car turn around to the right, and then, as usual, 17X, you're going to get incident points, disqualification at 25X, the standard stuff here in the Lotus 79 series, but these drivers well on their way. It's crazy to see, Jake, 48 laps here on the counter.
Yeah, it's a lot of laps here. We just saw Marco get overtaken wonderfully by Pepe Fuentes on the uphill to West Bend. That's the place you can sneakily make a pass up over the rise. Very easy for the car to go loose, and you need those 4 contact patches to go back down to make sure you've got the grip. Very easy for the steering to go light on you as you crest the rise, and then get a massive kick of oversteer as you get a massive amount of grip. Fastest lap again for Topi Courtiniemi, 42.3, lighting the timing sheets purple. Marco can only stare at AJ Roper a little bit further back in the distance, but look at the gaps now that are starting to form. It's a 2 seconds here, it's a 3 seconds there. This is the sort of circuit as well, Joe, you have to talk about where a 1/10 of a second is the equivalent of a second somewhere else at, say, the Nürburgring.
Absolutely, because of how short it is, the lap time's very fast, so everything is shrunken down just that little bit. A 1/10 of a second, it is a lot here at Lime Rock. In this place, the nickname, it is the Bull Ring. You're starting to figure out why. Look at how difficult it is to get by, and in fact, right in front of Sanfilippo, I believe that was Pepe Fuentes trying to jump up and over the curb and potentially even 3 wide here.
Yeah, and that's where Fabio Sar's gone through. Off the road is Ian Haycox. He just about holds it behind him. Christoph Olinjak is going to have himself in a bit of problems too. So he ran off the road on top of it. Ian Haycock is one of the biggest warriors in this series. He's got himself so much to fight for. He says that this style of racing, this distance is enough. Anything more and it starts to hurt him with the way that he has to modify his steering wheel out there to race after a motorcycle accident he had a couple of years ago. There's Topi Courtiniemi then, your race leader, 2.5 seconds clear of Kartik Pai, sliding it about then through the Big Bend, and there is the next group trying to keep in tack at this moment, which is led by Danilo Sanfilippo and the ever-consistent and improving Timothy Van den Berg.
JDS is that yellow car, the caboose on this 3-car train, and here is Barry West getting around Antonio Alvarez, it looks like. So after getting pushed off in turn number 1, lap number 1, this number 15 car starting to get back going, up to 19th place. Got about 2.5 seconds to go catch the next car of Christian Nieb, who's in front of him.
Yeah, so 2.5 seconds means a lot out there at this point. You're really getting an understanding of what these points mean and how you've got to pull them all together. Remember, this is a series with 2 drop rounds, and Topi Courtiniemi, who leads this race, has used 2 of his drop rounds, but 2 victories here would be big, and that's AJ Roper, the Canadian, who's off the road, and he's got to be careful on that rejoin. There was another car off the road as well, a little bit too, so did he come together? He did. There was a massive accident between him and Ian Haycock, both out.
Yeah, really unfortunate, just coming together in turn number 1 as we watch Pai, Reed, and Reina still go down the front straightaway. Look at how close they all are. Taking a look, it was Juho Reina, that 3rd car in line, but it is so tough to be in that position. You've got good top speed, but you can't quite actually close it in. Yeah.
Because that's going to be Danilo Sanfilippo losing 3 spots down on the tower. So Danilo in trouble out there. Not often that we get to see that, but he has just dropped 3 places from nowhere from Jack David Spickett, just going, I want you down the inside, easy as it comes. That is a lovely pass. Now here's Timothy Reed down the hill. We'll take a look at the GSRC replay. First and foremost, this is AJ Roper and Ian Haycox.
Now watch the green 18 just make a little bit of contact there, and they both go spinning. AJ Roper, I believe, is able to collect it after doing a full 360. Doesn't make it to the tire wall, but like you said, Ian Haycox in the pits.
Yep, so Ian Haycox out. AJ Roper has continued going. There's Timothy Reed in 3rd position, still trying to find a way to move up into 2nd and find the pass from Kartik Pai in the camel livery right now. Up the hill they go, and you will feel the steering wheel go light. They don't jump up as high as some other machinery that goes through this section, just because of the fact they've got so much downforce, which keeps them planted, effectively making these cars essentially like Boeing's out there in terms of aeroplanes. They just glue themselves over using the same sort of aerodynamic effects, just upside down.
Well, and the best part is these cars, they don't have doors, so they don't have to worry about those doors hanging on. So yeah, no, Timothy Reed firmly in the slipstream, just doing everything that he can. I still can't believe 42 seconds is what these cars are doing, and they continue to get faster as the fuel burns off here. I mentioned it's nicknamed the Bull Ring. You're going to have to go up there and literally fight for every single position. Timothy Reed has been tucked underneath the wing of Pai, and he still can't find a way around. Look at how close he is down the front straightaway, but you need to be side by side in order to make the lunge here into 1.
Well, at the moment, Timothy Reed's in red at this moment at El Plaza del Toro here in Lakeville, Connecticut. So he's the one who's trying to incite maybe a little bit of a bull rush out there at the moment, like the running of the bulls you see in Girona, for example. But this is really going to be tough for someone like Juho Reiner, for example, who got it all wrong off of the start and now has just had to watch Pai and Reed for the first 14 laps of this race.
It's tough. You need track position around Lime Rock Park. Qualifying is so important, and we saw it just slightly. Juho Reiner with massive wheel spin in 1st and 2nd gear, it looked like, on that standing start. But hey, it doesn't matter if you're on the first 100 yards or the last 100 yards of a race. You still need to get going.
Oh, you absolutely do. And that is very, very important to keep in mind, that all these drivers are looking around. We've got one retirement now. It's Stefan Walder out from 13th position. He's collided with Christoph Olenek on the front stretch, and both of them had a massive accident into turn 1 on lap 14 of this one. I think for Olenek, he's just limped it back to the pit. So that was a massive one that happened just in front of our commentary view. We'll get a look on the replay, Joey.
See exactly how it unfolds. You see there's already front wing missing on the number 13. The number 11's being aggressive and just posturing, going down the front straightaway. That's what happens when you got 2 frustrated race car drivers racing at Lime Rock Park.
You can see there the car suspension already gone for Stefan Walder, and for Christoph Olenek, it is for him a race that he wants to forget. He is out right now of this one, and he will be looking back down at the pits going, not what the doctor ordered. Timothy Reed needs a run here under the Haggerty Bridge, and now running through onto the Sam Posey Straight, going upwards of 260 kilometers an hour, 265 in the toe, trying to find a way through, but there is no let-up around here. You need to be right on the tail around this place to make it happen. But remember, as these cars do have those wings, top and tail, so to speak, there is that dirty air effect that does play a massive factor into whether you can make the pass or not.
It does, and Timothy Reed has happened to deal with that, which makes it that much more impressive, right? He's able to show the speed and potentially pass Pai, and he's also in the dirty air. But I can tell you for a fact, anybody who has raced Lime Rock Park has been in this position, has felt exactly what this red number 7 has, and it's tough. You just have to stay true to the railroad tracks. You have to try to force Pai off of the line a little bit where you can, and oftentimes it's just getting closer and closer and forcing that driver into a mistake.
Now, speaking of mistakes, Jack David Spickett a lap ago ran off the road at Big Ben, turns 1 and 2, and now he's behind both Vandenberg and Pepe Fuentes, who are now 5th and 6th in this race. So they both have made or you see Jack David Spickett's made that mistake. We stay with 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Look at how much time they have lost to the race lead. This will feel like 50 seconds the way this race is going. Toppy Courtaniemi, he's not walking away. He is sprinting away from these drivers.
Yeah, working, coming up to lap number 20, and he's about 5 seconds out in front.
Oh, so, brother on brother.
Yeah. Oh, let's see who's brave going down here into turn number 1, and it looks like Marco is going to be leading the way, and it's going to be Masada right behind, and Danilo's that 3rd car in line.
Danilo Sanfilippo was very, very passive, not something that we're used to seeing out here from one of the Sanfilippo brothers. Danilo is the more consistent. Marco certainly has that case to go through, and that's Ellis Spice down there in 19th position. He was 17th. He's just had a run off the road. Big Ben, so another one there. Look at Timothy Reed, though. This is what happens. There is action everywhere, and suddenly he thinks about trying to uncork it, and he's in such a tough position to get that pass. The moment he steps out of line, Juho Reiner is going to be a Yorkshire Terrier at his heels.
I think he just tried something different, right? He got frustrated following Pi in his tire tracks lap after lap, so he tried to go the long way around Big Bend, which honestly, with these downforce cars, I think it's a great idea. Just start showing your nose in different areas of the mirror, and check this out. He's actually got a run on the front straightaway. Pi, I think, is running a little bit less downforce, has a little bit more top speed, but Timothy Reed going to try the long way around. Careful of Reiner down the inside. Here he comes.
Brilliant there from Juho Reiner. Absolutely, ultimately opportunistic. You could say he had an edge. That was simply magnificent, and a mark of a driver of Juho Reiner's quality, knowing that he had to make that move, realising that there's no Mikko Leno here today, so he will walk into the championship lead as things stand, looking at Sebring a week from today.
Now he's just got to focus forward, because I do believe that both of these cars, I'm talking about Juho Reiner and Timothy Reed, who he just got by, are just a touch faster than this orange-yellow camel car of Karthik Pai out front. So maybe if Juho Reiner was able to pass Reed, he might be able to open the door on that number 4.
Fabi down the inside is going to easily get Danilo Sanfilippo for position. The way that Danilo's driving here, I would say his main concern is incident points.
I haven't been able to keep an eye too much on the number 8. I was actually checking out his brother in the number 2 a couple laps ago. Him and JB went side by side through a couple corners, and it was some pretty impressive stuff the way Marco was able to hang on.
Yeah, Marco is really trying to rag that car away, but look out, because here goes Pepe Fuentes, and he's looking for a move on Timmy Vandenberg. He's not going to get that. JDS back to the back of this group, and this one starts to open up. Looking to the left-hander, very difficult to find the pass there.
And remember, that yellow car has already passed.
Oh, Marco's off.
Uh-oh, that must have happened there in turn number 1 or thereabouts, because they're a few seconds behind this battle. But what I was about to say is, this yellow car of JDS, he's already passed Vandenberg. He's already passed Pepe Fuentes. So you know he's got the strength to do it again as we check out the GSRC replay.
So this is what happened to Marco Sanfilippo here, going along, looking towards turn number 1 out on circuit. He goes to turn for the inside, misses his braking point, and he has to go straight on.
And this is tough. Does he actually spin it around? I think he's going to go ahead and get it spun around later, but man, talk about all of that track position just completely lost.
Yeah, and he's retired the car. He's pulled it back into the pit, so that's his day donezo out there at this point. Up the uphill then for Timothy Vandenberg, for Pepe Fuentes, for Jack David Spickett in this race on for the final spot inside the top 5 on lap 25 of 48 into the second half of this race. And Pepe Fuentes will pick up a run. Will he go inside or out? He'll look outside into the mirrors, and now trying to get the up and under. They both check each other up. Jack David Spickett like a whippet. Absolutely amazing. Here goes Pepe Fuentes now the long way around, trying to find the move.
Is JDS Moses out there? The seas parted for him going into turn number 1. Both cars just completely got off of the racing line, out-braking themselves, and Jack David Spickett saw it, took advantage, and got 2 for 1 in the matter of an entry of a corner.
There's a Casey Kerwin gif of that. Moses making that pass and comfortably deciphering what was needed there. As you can see on the bottom hand side of your screen right now in our picture-in-picture, the race on for second, third and fourth as Kartik Pai continues to have to defend off against Juho Reiner and Timothy Reed, who's dropped back a little bit. Jack David Spickett now with a bit of room to attack away from Van den Berg and Pepe Fuentes. This group now starting to just expand a little bit.
And since we are past halfway, that mental state of the driver is always a little bit different, just trying to close out the race. I wonder if Timothy Van den Berg here is going to be able to actually pick up his pace a little bit, kind of attach himself to the back of JDS.
Oh, and Juho Reiner is all over Kartik Pai, who is driving so brilliantly this season. He's a driver with so much experience, is Kartik Pai. You've got to love the way that he drives, and he has been effectively grinding at his craft for year after year after year. Has been one of those drivers that has been slowly building up that portfolio, and now he is driving with the very best that this series has to offer, and now this is where he's really testing his mettle this season. A career season for him as now he battles behind with Reiner and Reed.
He's also one of the most respectful drivers. You see Pai go defensive in the middle, and around the outside goes Juho Reiner. Can he keep it there? Not quite this time as they go into turn number 2, single file, but I think that the overall grip level is starting to really fall off from Pai out front. These other drivers are starting to take advantage in unorthodox areas.
They certainly are. Pepe Fuentes is certainly going to be one of these drivers who wants to take advantage. He also would love that gap to extend a tiny bit more from Jack David Spickett. I'll give him the advantage he wants on the straight to get by Timothy Van den Berg up over the rise then. And now crawling into West Bend. 190, JDS off the road. Down the inside's going to go 1. Is it going to be 2? Diving through. Watch out. Here goes Pepe. He boxes himself in. But now here's the chance to come back and make that move. Half defended to the middle of the circuit, back to the inside. Pepe thinking of the outside line. Jack David Spickett's got to avoid those as much as he can. JB Masseder on the back.
You can see the anxiousness out of the driver of that yellow number 9. He made a second mistake now. He finds himself buried again in cars that he's passed twice already. You know he's frustrated. You see it in the driving. You just got to take a deep breath, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and get back to it.
His mistakes have been a number 9 and a number 9 large in this race. That is how much he's struggling at this point. There has been some big issues out there. Reiner, fastest lap of the race, a 42 flat, as he tries to latch back to Kartik Pai and has done so successfully. But this group now of Van den Berg, of Spickett, of Fuentes, and Masseder. JB Masseder started this race in 16th. He is up 8 places in this one, and it could so very easily be plus 11.
Doing a great job, and like you said, he's right on the back of this train, so depending on how all this plays out, keep an eye on that number 6 car. I have a feeling Jack David Spickett will be able to make the move here on Van den Berg, probably coming down the front straightaway. He's running an extremely high downforce setup, but look at the drive off at the corner it gets, allows him to tuck himself underneath. Now he's going to lose a little top speed. Watch the aggression in turn 1.
Oh, right down to the inside. Nose gets chopped by Timmy Van den Berg. He took full advantage of his straight line advantage, and that was just enough to hold back the whirling dervish that is Jack David Spickett, hoping for opportunities to make that pass, and he's got 17 of them left and a tiny bit more. But now you can sense there is worry there. Little half defense to the inside heading to West Bend. Timothy Van den Berg is under the collar.
I think that he's doing a good job because he's limiting mistakes, and now the run comes from Fuentes. JDS goes full defensive and the downforce. Look at how late he can go on the brakes. I thought Fuentes guaranteed had the pass done on this yellow car, but Jack David Spickett always one of the more aggressive, and I can tell you just from the visual difference on the top speed, he is running extreme high downforce.
Look, he's got a car that plants itself different. It's so pointy through the corner. Oh, and he has a massive wiggle. Heading to the uphill. There he goes. Round he goes. Pepe Fuentes round as well. Those two will take each other out of this race, and they've only got themselves to blame.
And JB Masada thankfully was able to avoid it. So unfortunate out there. And look at this huge slide from JDS. Remember, he was out front in front of that train. That's how they caught him. A great save, but ultimately ended in demise.
Timothy Reed's around from 4th place. There was side-by-side for 2nd. Pye down the inside. He tried to sneak up the inside, and Timothy Reed spun Juho Reiner.
Oh, so unfortunate. Turn number 1 and 2 has kind of been the nemesis for that red number 7. And now really the top 5 have been officially spread out.
They are now, and that gap has really ballooned. Kartik Pye survives after Reed and Reiner tangle. Fuentes now down in 8th position. We'll take a look at everything going on the GSRC replay. This is Reed diving down to the inside, trying to find a way through. Oh, it's a little bit messy there from Timothy Reed. He needed a bit more patience.
I totally agree, and I think that Timothy Reed was probably saying, this is how Juho got me, right? I tried around the outside, and Juho was able to slip underneath, so he tried to kind of play the Uno Reverso card. But, Jake, I agree with you. I think he needed to be a little bit further up forward and establish that position.
8.5 seconds the gap was at the line. Topi Kortaniemi leading this race by a country mile here at Lime Rock Park. He is a one-of-one style driver in the classics, and if he put his mind to it, he could be one of the few drivers in the world who could challenge the very best. Here's a look into turn 1, though. Pepe Fuentes dealing with the Neo Sanfilippo, and the Palermo man can't find a way past Pepe, who holds his place.
And what's impressive is Fuentes is doing this on half of a front wing. He was involved in that skirmish with JDS on the uphill, so just trying to go ahead and finish this, as this is now Ellis Spice back here. He's got Tyler Green firmly in his tire tracks, and the car right behind him is actually not for position.
No, very much isn't. So Ellis Spice, as he's going about things right now, that is Tyler Green, he's just got through, and then Ian Haycox, who's 5 laps down in this race at the moment. These drivers battling are 1 lap down, so the difference between them is 4 laps. Now here's Antonio Alvarez in 13th from Club Hispanoamerica, and this is where it gets awkward, because that's the race leader right behind, and he's trying to find himself with Jean-Francois Bosca, so it's Renault versus Ferrari, and then you got Toppy there in the Pikes from Beach racing car, who's looking around at this going, I really don't want to get involved, but I'm so quick I kind of have to.
And at Lime Rock, it can be tough. This really is a 1-lane racetrack. These cars are pretty wide given this track surface here, so our leader not wanting to take any risks. I bet you he's probably going to wait to the front straightaway to really get by these lap cars, as this number 5 of Pepe Fuentes out here, he's really just hanging on. I watched him about a lap ago. Tons of power slides everywhere with the damage that he's got going on. You see no front left wing on it. It's just trying to survive the next 11 laps.
Yeah, he is pretty much in limpet home mode. From here is Pepe Fuentes, a driver who started with the number 5 car on the side, which means he's got the 5th highest iRacing in the field. 5th position in qualifying, down in 10th. He'll feel this is a missed opportunity, and a number of drivers are going to feel the same way out there with what they are trying to put down on the table. Barry West, remember, was backwards turn 1 in this race. He might still get a top 10.
I was just going through the biggest movers, but you bring up a tremendous point with Barry West. He qualified way up there, so he actually hasn't net gained any positions, really. But he went all the way to the back, now all the way to midfield. He's going to pass Fuentes here for a top 10. I was going to mention the number 17 as well of Christian Nieb, as he is officially our biggest mover, as plus 11. Barry West looks to the inside.
Net gains do not count to the biggest moves and shakes, and at the inside of West Bend, under the Haggerty Bridge and through the downhill once more. Easy done from Barry West, who's battled back to a top 10. And as that happens, here goes the race leader, Topi Kortaniemi, to put a lap here on Barry West and co, as he's trying to dance through. Now, he is dropping quite a bit of time here, having to tickle his way through is the only way to describe it, past everyone. It's like he's got a nice feather duster. I'll have a little pass here, I'll have a little pass there, a little bit wide behind from Barry West, and now look at it here. It gets a lot more difficult for Barry when he's got Fuentes, Alvarez, and Seb Alexander.
I will bring up the point, though, everything that our leader is having to go through, Pai, Reina, Reed, Vandenberg, they're all going to have to make their way through it as well. So yeah, the accordion effect not necessarily helping our leader, but it will net kind of neutral, if you will.
Well, Vandenberg is a drive to keep an eye on, as San Filippo here, Danio's got Christian Nieb for company there in what is now 8th place. So he's given another place away here. Has Danio for position on the front stretch, doesn't want to battle, no confidence battling, and as such gives that one up. You've also got to keep in mind what's going on 5th and 6th, because JB Masada still has a chance here of a top 5, and Timmy Vandenberg, who has been stout and resolute in the way that he has been defending. He's been a staunch defender in this race, now realizing that JB Masada wants his plus 11 on what has been an incredible drive by him today.
And this is kind of the end of the chess game, right? Everybody has whittled their way down to the final little bits of fuel and tires and grip that they've got left. Does the number 6 have enough to pass Vandenberg? I look at the data. They're both fast laps of 41.9. Their last lap, Vandenberg 42.6, JB 42.3. So right now, the edge goes to that number 6.
The Frenchman chasing down Timothy Vandenberg from Club Mid-South, rushing through the right-hander, then on to the next run, which is known now as the Paul Newman Straight. Heading to the uphill, the fast right-hander, passing Station 5 and uphill station, heading towards West Bend and the Bridge Station, which are the marshal posts around this circuit, under what is now known as the Bailey Bridge, and now looking for an opportunity. The Bailey Bridge, the entrance to the circuit. Here goes JB Masada, hoping for a look to the inside with 6 laps to go. He's not quite there.
And remember, throughout the race, Timothy Vandenberg has done a tremendous job not to make any mistakes. Yes, cars have gotten past him, but it hasn't thrown him off the game. He rarely gets put off of the racing line, so this pass from Masada is going to have to get done.
Oh, and Timothy Reed's around again. This time up top of the hill there, he was on the right-hand side. Top 5's made, he wants 4th.
You know what, but good job on him for hitting reverse right there. He did not pull into the racing line, which is completely blind for everybody coming up on top of the hill. And this is going into turn number 1. JB Masada, does he push his luck around the outside? No, he tries to maybe tuck back in line. Just look for the next opportunity.
Is he just trying to be a bit too clever here? That's the question that I'm asking right now. As look at this, he tries to go up and under at the right hand. Has he got an angle for the uphill? No, he doesn't. Timmy Vandenberg's got to be alert to everything.
It's tough with these cars and the curbs. You saw that Masada maybe could pull an over-under, but he kind of bounced it off of the inside curb. That halted his momentum, but here going down the downhill, careful of that inside curb, gets a tremendous exit. They're both going to use the slipstream from the lap car. JB Masada is going to look to the inside, but once again, just thinks he's not quite close enough.
No, to have been brave to try and make that lunge at turn 1, and some would even say a little bit foolish if he thought he could make that happen. And once more, he now just shadows here looking for this 4th position with Topi Kortaniemi already over 20 seconds down the road from them right now and setting fastest laps. For fun, it seems. 41.7 this time from him. Timmy Vandenberg, look out, because JB Masada right now is hoping for every which way to try and find a move. And he does tag a bit of the curb on the inside, and that will stymie the run.
Yeah, and you see him try to wiggle all the dirt off. You had mentioned the dirty air. He was just trying to get a little bit of air to that wing. Just cut it a little bit too close, clipped that curb, and now you see about a 3/4 of a second gap between the two.
Well, it'll take a lot of work to pull that back, but if anyone can, it is JB Masada who's got that chance to, and he realises how important it is just to find a couple of nice laps here and a couple of nice laps there. Your leader now at 2 laps to go here in this race, and Masada has done well to claw that gap back down again, Joey.
It was all in the uphill, turn number 5. I don't know if Timothy Vandenberg just isn't comfortable with the revs or what, but there was a huge time loss.
Timothy Reed is now officially out of this race. He has clattered again on the uphill, and this is where it happens for him, getting through. Just as it bottoms out, you could see the sparks there, and that is a second hit through, and that pretty much does that. Final lap, though, of this race, and this will be a lap of honour for Topi Courtaniemi, who is simply put untouchable in this kind of form. Watch out, though, for JB Masada. This might be his last chance to try and find this move. Over to the inside, Timmy Vandenberg defends. Masada has to go the long way around to try and get this done. Use the grip that's there. Gives a bit of wash to Timmy Vandenberg. Gets the move done on the final lap of the race. What a pass by JB Masada. Perfect. Toppy, though, cannot be toppled. He wins by a dominant margin. Who ever can stop him in any car?
Here comes Karthik Pai. You called it. Topi Courtaniemi 2 for 2 today. The 49s backs it up with the 79s. Juho Raina does recover to finish on the podium, and there is probably the biggest story of the race. JB Masada up to 4th place. Did Vandenberg get him at the line? No, JB did finish 4th.
Yep, 0.3 of a second the margin. Here's, believe it or not, the last driver on the leading lap. Just 7 of them here today, and Christian Neeb is going to be the last one over the line of those on the leading lap. We are going to be able to take you now through official classified results, but oh my word, was that a dominant performance or what? Topi Courtaniemi is the king of the classics, and he wins by nearly 12 seconds over Karthik Pai, who gets a big second place finish here today. Juho Raina will be the final driver on the podium. He got turned around by one Mr. Timothy Reed today, but still managed to pick up a crucial podium. What a drive by JB Masada. He gained up 12 places during this race from 16th to 4th, passing Timothy Vandenberg around the outside on the final lap. You then had Fabio Sal in 6th position, a quiet but respectable drive from him, with Christian Neeb, your biggest gainer in this field today, 13 places, lucky for him. Danilo Sanfilippo, with a conservative drive, would end up in 8th, ahead of Barry West, who went from 10th to last and then to 9th to finish off his race, and the top 10 rounded out by Antonio Alvarez.
Then we've got Seb Alexander back here finishing in 11th, Jean-Francois Boscus in 12th, Ellis Spice finishing in 13th, but a terrific run for that number 19, up 10 positions there to finish 13th. AJ Roper in 14th, Tyler Green in 15th, Pepe Fuentes finishing here in 16th, Timothy Reed in 17th, Daniel Gallus 2 laps down here in 18th, Ian Haycox 5 laps down, and then unfortunately the rest of the names here, including Olencek, Jack David Spickett, Marco Sanfilippo, Stefan Walder, did not finish today's race.
It was a very brutal race by that regard. Everybody was looking around thinking, what did they have to do here today? We do have the chance to talk to a couple of drivers here overall. Barry West has found his way over to us and is going to have a little bit of a chat. Barry, from 10th to last to 9th, I would say that +1 doesn't really do you justice for how well you drive today.
No, I loved it here all week. Everybody was moaning about Lime Rock, and I just love the place. It reminds me of Castle Coombe, actually. It's such a short little track, and it's quite technical, but it's Yeah, I love it. I've done well all week, and pity about AJ tapping me rear at the first bend. I think it could have been only another 2 places in it, I think, to be fair. Just a bit less pace than Tim in front of me. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's good to put pressure on people instead of having the pressure put on you.
Absolutely. Castle Coombe's my local, and I would absolutely give the exact same sentiment. It does have that similar sort of vibe, but having a track as small as this, a bullring style circuit where everyone's basically on top of everyone else, a lot of powerful machinery around here, how important was it for you just to compartmentalize and go, right, it's one position at a time, and however far I get up, I get up?
Yeah, well, that's just what I had to do, one position at a time, and that was just, I knew what lap times I could do, and I was surprised that Topi caught me, when he did. I thought he would have caught me a lot earlier, but yeah, it was just consistency, I think, and I don't know what my lap times are like, but I wasn't in the 41s, but low 42s. Yeah, I was pleased with that all week. Yeah, I've been playing around with the setup, and it's not a lot of downforce, but it's sort of mid-range, really, I suppose. I noticed Tim Reed was only doing 161 down the straight, and this does about 165, so probably a bit lighter wing, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Well, you enjoyed it. It's an American triple header, so to speak, in this championship. We'll head to the second part of that next time out at Sebring 7 days from today. How do you feel about all the bumps and lumps that can throw at you?
Yeah, I don't usually do well there. I mean, Sebring's a bit bogey track, but Watkins Glen's my other favourite. But yeah, yeah, we'll see what we can do. Hopefully top 10, hopefully.
Well, we'll hope to see you up in that top 10 like you were here today. A wonderful drive from Barry West from 10th to the back of the field to 9th place. A thoroughly deserved performance there from him. We will hear Joey get a chance to talk to the race winner. You've managed to catch up with him. He seems quite popular at the moment, finding himself at Victory Lane. Topi Courtaniemi stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Yeah, you hopped on the virtual jet, found yourself a new victory lane. Congratulations on another win today, Topi.
Thanks, Joey.
So, I want to ask you, how do you feel about these Lotus 79s and this Lime Rock Park combo? Because it's not your typical road race circuit. It's extremely fast-paced.
It's pretty, I'd say, hectic. And the jump and the compression zones makes it pretty interesting to drive on. You just have to attack the corner and you'll see it creep up and go flat out.
These cars certainly do well with a smooth track, but next week is Sebring. Are you going to be around racing with us then?
That's a strong maybe.
Okay, well, let me get your opinion on that track, because it is the complete opposite from smooth.
Oh, yeah, it's a great track. I mean, it's great to race on. I always enjoyed driving that one.
It'll be really interesting to see how the 79s play out here. Before I let you go, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
To John Olson. Pay up your 25 iRacing dollars.
Well, Topi Courtaniemi going 2 for 2 today with Victory Lane. First in the 49s and now in the 79s at Lime Rock.
He had an absolutely sensational drive here today, and that is going to be huge. No Mikko Leno next time out either, which means that he will effectively have a similar points, or if not, slightly jump up more than him. And Mikko Leno came into today as the championship leader, so keep that in mind in terms of action. That will bring the curtain down here at Lime Rock Park. I want to give a massive thanks to the team here today, of course, from Joey, from Daniel, and from Dougie, to make sure that this show was brought together to you. You can catch all the equipment that has brought the Global SimRacing Channel show to you on what has been a Genesis Extreme production. All right, now, with what you can see right now, it does include the music that you've heard today by June Lalonde. You can catch the stuff on Bandcamp if you haven't had the chance to already. You've got so much action here with the Global Sim Racing Channel, which will be coming up through the month of July and into August. You definitely want to tune in to all of the amazing racing that comes along here with us. You can catch us on our socials as well as catching us on our website and our merch store if you want an extra 2/10 to be quicker in your sim racing endeavors on programs with us. But with Topi Kotkaniemi absolutely untroubled today in his performance, he has gone back-to-back in terms of victories, and he's done the classics double here today on what is both 49s and 79s. Is there anybody that can catch him up and can put a challenge down on the board to him? Well, you'll have to wait next week to try and chase that down. The lumps and bumps will come along with that. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you at Sebring.
Wow.